Hi everyone, I'm Mr. Gowerluck here, and I'm going to talk to you about the Models and Designs unit that we have for 5th grade, and I'm going to focus on force and motion today. Understanding that there's a relationship between force and motion is a big deal, and we'll talk more about that. What is a force? Well, it could be something as simple as a push or a pull. If you have a little brother or sister or someone like a dog at home or someone who likes to push you around, you probably know all about that. But if you pull things or if you've been able to walk something in a little wagon, sometimes I'll put little Greta in a wagon here, and Greta likes to be pulled around, and she really enjoys that. And that's one way that we connect as friends. What's on your face, Greta? Ugh, you see that? Yikes! I'm gonna have to tell her to clean herself up. Anyway, pull and push, they obviously work together and in opposition to one another, and we'll talk more about that. In order to know how that works, you need to know what the simple machines are. You can see that we have a lever and an inclined plane. A lever would be kind of like those balances. We've seen that in calendar math, number corner. Inclined plane, many of you love to play on ladders, and I'm not a big fan of ladders, but some of you probably really like them. A wedge, think of a nail going into wood and wedging itself into that. An axe does the same thing, splits. A pulley, wheel and axle like a wheelbarrow, and behind my big head right here is a screw. It kind of spirals into wood. It's not exactly a wedge, but in a way it has wedge qualities, if that makes sense. It's a screw is much more has much more strength, much more holding power than a nail, just so you know. So our guest right here, I'm not going to say his name just in case he's wanted by the FBI or anything, but loves websites. So BrainPop has a really good one here, which I'll put in the description, and so does the StudyJam site from Scholastic.com. If you're ever flying in an airplane, you want to know all about lift and gravity. And you want to know about thrust and drag. So those are opposition forces that work together, but also kind of fight one another. If you want to go up in the air, you need lift to win the battle. If you want to go fast through the air, you need thrust to win the battle. If you want to run fast for track and field day, you need thrust to win the battle. You don't want to lift, and you don't want to be stuck with gravity or drag. You want thrust to win. So how do you make those things happen? Well, through the engineering process, you would design things, you would test things, see how they work, and then tinker and just keep repeating that process of seeing what works, what doesn't work, gathering data, and assessing what steps you'd need to take next. It's all about making mistakes, and making mistakes is encouraged because you'd rather make mistakes in a controlled setting than you would if there were lives dependent upon it. For example, an airplane. So American Aviation has figured out flying, knock on wood for the next time I go on a plane, but they've figured it out so that people can get from point A to point B very safely. Forces can be balanced, but they also can be unbalanced. A push or a pull. So that idea that, if you're pushing someone on the swings, and they're going to have that momentum going really fast, you can also pull them to stop. Okay? Pulling a rock. I don't know why you'd go and pull a rock, but you just never know. You might get bored. You might be like that girl up on the screen, stick your tongue out and pull out a rock. Friction. Your shoes are examples of how friction works every single day throughout your day. Your shoes have to have enough friction, and kind of like when you put your hands together and you just rub them like this, you'll feel heat. But if you put them together really hard and then rub, do that for 10 seconds, you will feel friction and heat in your hands. And your shoes work against the ground that way so that you're able to make progress when you walk. Otherwise, all you do is slip and fall everywhere, which is funny if it's April Fool's Day and everything, but it isn't so funny if you're tired of falling and bruising and hurting yourself. Oh my gosh, who are these? Are they twins? No one knows, but this is Isaac Newton. I don't know which hairstyle you like, the top one or the bottom one, but I mean, this person looks like a twin, doesn't? But anyway, Newton's first law. Newton is a scientist from the 17th century, I think part of the 16th century, but 17th century. and talked about objects at rest tend to remain at rest. So if you're just going to sit there, you'll probably feel more inclined to just keep sitting there. If you're going to move, or if something's moving, it'll be more inclined to keep moving until an object until a force acts upon it, okay, which creates that unbalance. And that force acts upon a moving object to stop it. For example, that wall. Or somebody comes up behind me and pushes me, which I know you probably all love to do right now. But that's how Newton's first law works. Objects at rest tend to stay at rest. Objects in motion stay in motion. Second law. This is one of my favorite laws because I'm a baseball player. I'm a baseball coach. An acceleration of an object depends on the mass, okay, and the force applied. For example, if you want to put a major force on a baseball, let's say, even though this is dice, let's just say it's our baseball. I don't know why I don't have a baseball here. Hold on, I just found one. Here we go. Twins are about to start here soon. This is our baseball. If I were to get a big bat and I were to give it a ton of acceleration and then that mass of the bat and the acceleration of my swing would provide a launching force upon this ball. You might see a tear out of that if I were to do that, or it'd break. But if I don't have a very big bat and I don't swing very hard and I go doink, there isn't a lot of force. Okay? So force equals mass times acceleration. If you're playing baseball, you want to be able to swing a really big bat as fast as you can. But if you can't swing it very fast, you should lighten it up and swing it harder, and you'll put more force. But it's essentially a math problem. You can swing a big bat really fast, you're going to hit the ball a lot further because you're applying more force. Then you'll start talking about angles and which direction it's traveling, because you can put a great swing with a big bat and then the ball will still go this way. It'll go as a foul ball because you didn't make solid contact. Anyway, I don't want to get into baseball coaching right now, but I could if you wanted. And maybe that will be something you put in the comments if you want to hear more about baseball and hitting. That'd be fun to hit for you. Third law. Forces occur in pairs. Okay, for every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. For every action, there is an equal yet opposite reaction. I'm sitting in a chair right now. I'm putting a force of gravity on the chair. Plus, I'm a big person, so I'm putting a larger force than probably what you do. How do I stay up and not fall through the floor? The floor has to put an equal amount of force back up to hold me in place. Otherwise, every time I'd come here and try to record a video, I'd fall through the floor. You'd find that funny, of course, but I'd get hurt and I'd cry, and that's not good. It reminds me, I was reading a book about helium once. I couldn't put it down. I know, random joke, but it had to be said. So here's a little poster, a little bit of Newton right here. Lovely hair. First law. Objects at rest tend to stay at rest. Objects in motion tend to stay in motion. Okay. Second law. Force equals mass times acceleration. I don't know why this person is pushing on this elephant this way. All I see is disaster in his future. Third law. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. Okay. If you're doing tug of war, and you have just as much mass from this team, or just as much force from this team as this team, the rope isn't going to go anywhere. That's why we call it tug of war, and it's fun. That rope burn in your hands and all that, that's fun. People love that. But if one group is able to apply more force in how they pull, then they are able to pull the other team, and that's the unbalanced part. So, yeah, we can get a balance and an unbalance going. So that's all I have for you on force and motion today. It's a good, quick little introduction. There will be more coming, and I can't wait to be able to talk to you more about some of the things that we have coming up, because I think you're really going to enjoy this science unit. So if you have any questions, put them down in the comments or ask your teacher, and I'm sure they'll be able to help you. And Greta wants to say bye. Bye-bye. Have a good day. All right, Greta. That was kind of weird, but have a good day.